Welcome into Chit Chat Chapters. I'm Austin. She's Lauren.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, we are. Austin and Lauren, welcome in Chit Chat and Chapters. Very excited for this one. Lauren, what are you sipping on for this episode of Chit Chat and Chapters?
I got water, man. I've been so behind on my hydration lately that I need to be downing. I'm so bad at drinking water. It's not even funny.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I have such ADD brain, which I also just started on ADD medicine, so I'm fixing myself. Yeah,
Yep.
I feel like a superhero. This is incredible.
Right. You didn't need superpowers, man, so I can only imagine.
But one of my ADD faults is that I will buy a water bottle or something and it's like, this is the thing I drink water out of. This brings me joy to drink water out of. And then it stops bringing me joy to drink out of.
Then you get the ick. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. So I have 4 or 5 water bottles that I just don't drink out of anymore because it doesn't bring me joy.
You're in between emotional support water bottles?
I currently have an emotional support water bottle.
Good.
It is a Brewmate, the one that
has...
has...
Brewmates. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a nice straw. It closes completely, so that way I can throw it around and it doesn't spill anything.
Yep.
It's my emotional support water bottle. I'm currently sipping on a very crispy Diet Dr. Pepper from
Heck yeah.
from the only place to get the best fountain beverages.
Oh,
That's
Mickey
McDonald's.
D's.
Yeah, you know it.
Yeah.
Not
Love
a doubt in
that.
anyone's mind. Oh, it
Nope.
just hits different, doesn't it?
Yeah, okay, so I've heard 2 different theories. I've heard it's because they actually have a special formula that they allow more sugar in their drinks, which doesn't necessarily make sense considering that everybody says that the diet versions are better.
Yeah.
Wouldn't necessarily follow through. But I've also heard it's because their straws are wider, so you get more carbonation and a better ratio.
Ooh, I've never even
And
thought about that.
that theory makes sense to me.
That does logistically make sense. Now I'm going to run to Casey's next on my next road trip and also run to McDonald's, and I'm going to compare the 2 straws. I'm not going to switch the straws, so that way I can truly see if it's the straw that's making the difference.
It's true.
This
But
is
Casey's is also different because Casey's has pellet ice, and pellet ice does increase drinkability on a drink.
I hate this. The number of people that say pellet ice is superior, get out of here. It is not.
Yes, it is.
No!
Yes. 100%.
No!
The
Not
more
even a little
crunchability,
bit.
we crunch it. Because I'm an ice chewer, hardcore.
Ugh, no thanks. Ugh,
Yep.
I want legitimately the only thing I like pellet ice for is for iced tea because it melts faster. So that way, you get a really strong iced tea and it kind of melts. Yeah, that's the only thing. Otherwise, pellet ice, cube ice, it's all the same.
No. Don't. It's a good thing we sell roofs and not ice makers.
This bad boy right here, cubed. Best cubes around. Sir, I like pellet ice. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
All right, Lauren, you finished some books this week.
I did.
What did you finish, and how were they?
So this week this week a little bit plus. I finished P.S. I Like You by Casey West. She is a YA author that has recently started dabbling in adult as well. This is one of her YA ones. She has always been she's an author that I used to read a lot of her YA stuff in high school. And I got approved for this as an ARC, so thank you to NetGalley, because it's re-releasing with a new cover to kind of help build hype around it.
Okay.
This was a solid 3 stars. This was super enjoyable. I love a 3-star book. A 3-star book is something that
you and I, our systems are totally different.
Okay, hold on. Okay, then great. I'm gonna give you my quick breakdown.
Okay, go for it.
5-star, God tier. 5-star is top of the top. A 4-star is basically a 5-star that is just missing something. A 4-star book has to have pretty immaculate vibes behind it.
Okay.
A 3-star is something that if you come to me and say, hey, I'm thinking about reading this, I'm going to be like, yes, you will enjoy the heck out of it. A 2-star is something that I didn't really enjoy. It had more bad than good in it for me. I finished it because of something. I either loved a character, I loved a plot, like I did finish it. And a 1 star is why is this even a book? So like a 3 star for me is
Okay.
still like a I would recommend. I may not recommend it to you, but if you read it, you're gonna enjoy it.
Uh-huh.
That's where I'm at with it. So this was like a 3.5. I
Okay.
thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you so much to NetGalley Scholastic for allowing me to read that one. And then,
Okay.
like I mentioned last episode, I'm trying to like knock out some arcs so I can
Uh-huh.
request the new BK Borison book that's about to come out in like
Hmm.
March. So I also read Not You Again by Aaron LaRosa. This one was so fun. Okay, so like I also mentioned last one, I am a chronic like going to just pick a book based off the cover vibes.
Okay.
But this one ended up having being a little bit of like magical realism in it. They get stuck in a town that gets stuck in a they're in a town that gets stuck in a time loop, and they like
Ooh.
regenerate every day. But it's like a romance, so like the two characters start off very like I don't really care about you, I don't know, but then they end up having to like come together to like figure out why they're in this time loop. It was so much better than I anticipated. Like this was a absolute 4 star, like 3.75 4 star. So much cuter than I anticipated. And of course, last but not least, I finished up Emma Lovewell. She's the Peloton instructor.
Okay. Okay.
Do you know who I'm
Gotcha.
talking about at all?
I I've I'm sure I've seen her on like some,
Something. Yeah,
ad or whatever, but I don't know of her.
that's fair. Okay. Well, she wrote a book, Live Well, Love Well, or Live, Learn, Love Well. It's a nonfiction. It's just her story.
Uh-huh.
And I try really hard to read some type of like either memoir, self-help, something like that. So I also will
Oh,
always give them those 5 stars. A to me, if you a
really?
nonfiction, I will always give a nonfiction 5 stars. If you have the capacity to write a full book about your story, or like a self-help where like you have the knowledge and the capacity to like complete something like that, even if I didn't necessarily it didn't resonate with me, I'm going to give it 5 stars because I want it to get into the correct hands. I believe that it deserves to get into the right
Ah,
hands. I know a
interesting.
lot of book talkers and booktubers will not rate them at all, but to me that
Hmm.
doesn't give it credit to get it into the right hands. So
Sure. I
I
respect
will,
that.
yeah. And I'm also
Yeah.
not gonna like I'm not gonna give it like a 1 or 2 star just because it didn't resonate with me. Like I want it to get into the right hands. So for me, a
Sure.
nonfiction is always going to be a 5 star just because I want it to get where it needs
Very,
to go.
very, very interesting. I don't
Yeah.
read nonfiction, so I don't have a rating system. I just legitimately, I have yet to find. I read one nonfiction book because I was interviewing the author for the radio show, and it was all about uh, the history of like living longer and like trying and like medical
Oh,
history.
yeah.
Um, I can't remember the author now, but we had a lovely conversation about it. And it was a fun. It was fun. I had the hardest time reading it and finishing it, no matter how fun the actual writing was.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, to be fair, they take me months to get through. Like, I
Yeah,
read a chapter or two before bed to kind of help get me into like a good mindset, and like memoirs, audiobooks. I
yeah,
love a memoir as an audiobook because when it's told by the author. So
totally.
like but like I don't get very heavy into any of them. I
Sure.
usually have one going trying to expand what I'm reading, but like yeah, they
Yeah.
take me forever to get through.
I understand. I understand. I book that I finished this week, The Bullet Swallower by Elizabeth Gonzalez James. I ended up so my rating system, which is very different. 1 and 2 star books are DNFs. Um,
And 2 star. Interesting. Okay.
2 star is a DNF that I kind of vibed with that like or where it's like the writing is really good, but
Hmm.
I didn't vibe with the story, so I stopped it for that reason. um, so a 3 star is going to be a book that I finished that I didn't particularly like.
That makes so much more sense on that other freaking weird ass book we were talking about last time. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like this is a finishable book. It was enough to get me through it, but it wasn't like I wasn't in love with this book. I didn't really like it.
Okay.
And then 4 star is a book that I really liked that I finished. A 5 star is like this is I hand out 5 stars pretty frequently.
Well, yeah, because you don't have enough of like a. It's a good book, 5 star. You don't have the range there, man.
I do like I do in all of my reviews put like if it's a 5 star, most of the time it's 4.25 stars, and I round up. Like I have a
Okay.
very distinct 4 to 5 has levels to it. Uh, as
You
it
could have
should.
just made it 1 through 5.
No,
I'm dissing on your rating
no.
system. I'm 100% dogging on
That's
your
fine.
rating system.
You absolutely can. You're wrong. I'm right.
My 800 followers on TikTok would disagree with you.
Put this clip on there. Let's find out. I dare you.
Making a poll.
That's right. We got to do it. We got to find out. Okay, so The Bullet Swallower by Elizabeth Gonzalez James. I rated this 3 stars, and the reason why is because I did finish it. It has an interesting premise of like there's an angel that was supposed to like kill this guy's grandpa, and then he decided, no, I'm not going to do that, and see what happens, and then he becomes an outlaw, but an outlaw who does like kind of Robin Hood-y type stuff. Um,
Okay.
and then we fast forward to his grandson is an actor who tells the story. I don't know. It was just kind of all over the place. The action was fine, like it was Western vibes, and there was an interesting premise. I enjoyed it, but I'm
Not
not
in love.
thrilled about it.
Yeah.
Basically, what are you reading now?
I'm currently reading The Starter X by Mia Sosa. She's the one that also wrote when Javi dumped Mari. And like it's basically like a twist on How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. So
Okay.
I'm like, it is an arc. It is expected March 10th of next year. So as always, thank you to NetGalley and GP Putnam Sons for allowing me to read the e-arc for my own opinions. I just started it, so we'll see how it vibes. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I've heard when Javi dumped Mari has been on my TBR for so long that when this one popped up, I was like, yes, we'll be reading.
Very nice, very nice.
What about you?
I am reading Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm really liking it so far. I'm really liking it so far. I'm also listening to The Cold Dish by Craig Johnson, which is the first of the Walt Longmire series.
Oh,
So
okay, cool.
yeah. I really like the narrator for this one. I really do. It just feels right. So
Yeah.
I'm loving both of these. Hopefully it keeps on going.
Love that. My
I
mom
I
actually has the signed copy of that because when you go to oh, where is it? There's somewhere in Wyoming. Why can't I think? Buffalo. It's like basically where that takes place. And so like
yes,
he like the author comes and signs the books, which is really cool.
that is really cool. Yeah, I'm excited to finish this one and see where it goes because it's so well written, great narrator. So very very excited for all of that. We've got lots of stuff to get to coming up this show. We've got Help, I Don't Understand My Significant Other, and instead of talking to them, I want to learn about them from a book instead. Then we will get into Lauren's ARC journey, which she's commented a little bit about, but so a little sneak preview there. And then we
Yeah.
wrap things up with Horny Court. And we're
Yes.
swinging for the fences right off rip with the ACOTAR series. So stick around. We've got Help, I Don't Understand My Significant Other coming up right now. Time for a segment with a really long name, but I'm not changing it. It's it, it is Help, I Don't Understand My Significant Other, and instead of talking to them, I want to learn about them from a book instead.
Hey, you know what? We love a title that is all encompassing. You know what we're gonna get, and that's what matters.
There are no question marks as to what this segment is about.
Correct.
Lauren, you're a married woman. I'm a
I
married
am.
man,
Yep.
and not to each other. For those of you who have missed that,
Correct.
and
We hate
there are
each other.
times, and there are times where we just can't get into the mind of our significant other,
Yep.
and so these books are ways to help get into
Help you out.
yeah, just help us out. Lauren, Explain women to me in a book form.
The right move, baby. The right
Okay.
move. So this is again, this is book 2 of the Windy City series. So this is a romance. It's
It's
a
sports
this is
romance.
sports. Yep, and right move is basketball. So he is
Okay.
a player in the NBA. She is a flight attendant. It's forced proximity,
Ooh.
marriage or relationship of convenience, kind of like vibes. But like the thing about Ryan Shea and this whole book really just is such a beautiful example of quiet love. The little things you do for
Ah.
somebody and how that adds up. Because Ryan is like the number one NBA draft pick and he's like the all-star across the entire company, like whatever, he cannot live a very public life with a significant other because of like paparazzi and like media and like spinning all these stories and like having to be focused on the game and stuff like that. So the way he loves Indy is in these little quiet moments. He makes her coffee and puts it in the fridge so when she puts ice cubes in it, it doesn't dilute the coffee when he
Mm.
gets up. And he like continues to buy flowers and plants because she loves them even though he kills them within the week. And
Hmm.
like all of these small quiet things that really end up accumulating to their love. And I think that like yes, this is a probably 3 maybe 4-star spicy book. Like that's beyond what it is about for them. Like the
Uh,
way that they love each other and their communication styles of, you know, neither one of them are super great communicators. Both of them have been like overly concerned with other people's opinion of them. So when they come together and really communicate through it, I think is another just beautiful example of like you could be learning a lot on it doesn't have to be the typical great big grand gestures that you see in books. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting. And it's very interesting that you talked about it in a way that is both, you know, the man and woman in those little things because
Yep.
it is important to know that like yeah guys like the little things as well whatever that little thing may be
Yep.
so what is it is are there specifics in the book or is it just the overarching theme of don't forget the little things.
I would say it's definitely just the overarching theme. It's like it
Mm,
because of how much it pops up and like you start to realize in that kind of third act breakup that like she starts to realize all the small things and then you kind of take that journey with her of both of them realizing because it is dual POV. And so I mean
mm,
you see it with her I think a little bit more glaringly because with him you follow along all the things that he does that like are second nature to him but she's never experienced it before. And so
mm-hmm.
she's learning what quiet love is and what it entails where he has just always done it. And so I also really like, while yes, I would say it's the overarching theme, I love that it's the overarching theme from two very different sides of what that looks like.
Mm-hmm. And I've never read this book, and I'm sure I will at some point because you have spoken so highly of the series. But does one thing that I've run into with certain romance books that are dual POV is that the the guy doesn't feel like a guy or the girl doesn't feel like a girl depending on like oftentimes the author just gets whatever their opposite gender is they just get it wrong.
Mm. Yeah,
how
no.
how do you feel about this book specifically?
That's the thing with I think with the entire series is like
Mm-hmm.
the guys are guys. Don't like because I
Mm-hmm.
agree. There's so much where like I read so many books where the guys are dudes with their friends, but then they're like not when they're with their like girlfriend or the significant other or whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're not a real person.
Yeah.
You're not doing things that any normal human would do, or like you're still not a guy. But like he still is. Like
Mm-hmm.
he makes mistakes and they like do fail to communicate in like a normal way, not an exaggerated miscommunication. Because I also cannot stand when your like third act breakup is just a like one and done conversation that like
Yeah.
you could have just like you've been talking fantastically throughout the whole book and then it's a miscommunication trope. Absolutely not. But this was like he still feels like a guy. He still makes
Mm-hmm.
mistakes. He's still out at the gym, like working off energy because he's pissed off at himself. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's a lot of that too that really does. Yeah, I mean, like they both feel she's insecure because of her friend group, which is like a very like that's something that even I relate to as a like women I think do psychoanalyze their friendships more than guys do, where guys are going to be at the gym and like it may be slightly more stereotypical because it is a book, but it's done in such a real way. And let's be real, I mean, they're stereotypes for a reason. It's because that's
Sure.
what life is, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, the characters across the series are all so wonderfully thought through.
That's awesome. That's really fantastic. So, for to understand a guy, I am going to go with a book that I actually read in high school. Have you heard of The Five People You Meet in Heaven?
Yeah, and I just saw you put this on there. I was like, oh, you're gonna like totally like one up me on this. So please explain because I'm
So,
now really intrigued.
well, so I was really trying to think of a romance book or, something that's a little more fluffy for this segment, but I really wanted to hit this one really deeply because I've at growing up as a guy, and you hear a lot of people talk about the lack of emotions that men are supposed to feel and all this sort of stuff, and I've never really connected with that. I've always been allowed to feel my feelings and all that sort of stuff. But there has been a I think that a thing that every guy feels is a sense of why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? And I think that this book, The Five People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom, really puts that into perspective. So it's a story about a wounded war veteran. He's been working at a seaside amusement park mostly like for most of his life, especially the last half of his life. On his 83rd birthday, a tragic accident kills him as he's trying to save a little girl from a falling cart. He wakes up in the afterlife and he meets five people that he knew or that like were a part of his life, and it answers that question of why was I here. And you really get like Eddie is such a wonderful character because he starts so stone cold, and he grows in warmth as you go along, and so it's a real look into how a lot of guys feel about even just being in their relationship. Why am I in this relationship? What, like, am I just a tool for you to use for whatever? Like, do you like me because I'm tall and can reach the high shelves? No offense, Lauren.
I mean, it's a perk. Ben is over
It
six
is
foot.
sure 100%. But so like it a lot of guys really struggle with that feeling, and so if you're in a relationship and you're able to give concrete, you are here because I love you, like that kind of concreteness to verbalize and to give give some calm to the rocky seas that is, what am I doing here? What is my purpose? Guys feel that need to have purpose, and some guys find it in being with the boys. They find purpose in that like that whole being with the boys mentality. Other people find it in a job, and people try to find it in relationships and all that sort of stuff. And so, especially for women to understand that men have this block, it feels so important. And then for you to read this and see this growth that comes from having that understanding, it's just really wonderful, to be honest.
I love that. I love
So,
that.
yeah,
Okay, fine. You win
this week.
this week.
Don't
Oh,
worry. I really like this segment, so I think we're going to bring this one back. I think that
oh,
it'll
absolutely.
yeah, 100%. All right. Enough touchy-feely stuff. Lauren's arc journey coming up next. Lauren,
We are back. I'm gonna start it. It's my segment. Come
fine,
on.
I'll let you start it. Goodness gracious.
We're back. We're kicking things off. We are starting Lauren's arc journey. As we have discussed, one of the things that I have really gotten into is reading ARCs. And if you don't know what an ARC is, it is an advanced reader copy. That essentially means that I get to read books before they come out and give my honest opinions just to help them gain some traction and get some publicity rocking and rolling. So,
How honest is it? How honest is it?
okay, to be
That's
fair,
my number one question.
no, I am like actually super honest. The only thing is that, as I said, like if I DNF a book, I usually just don't put a rating. I won't one star it. All of my rating system is for books that I have actually finished. That being said, if I DNF a ARC review, I still put it as a 1 star because because NetGalley states in their rules that you have to like even if you DNF it, do it as a 1 star so it can be visible to others. But I do make it very clear in my review that like I did DNF at whatever percentage I DNF'd it at. So like I am very truthful.
Okay.
I take pride in my truth.
That's right. Someone's
Yeah.
gotta.
Someone's gotta. All right. So for the month of August, or it's October, so for the month of September, I read 3, 6, 7 arcs. 7 arcs in the month of September. And what I want to do is I basically just want to touch on a couple of my favorites and then anything that just was not hitting. Because like I said,
Okay.
I am honest. All right, so getting into the 7 books I read in the month of September, I'm going to pick like a couple I liked, a couple I didn't. We're going to like fully round things out here. But like I said, I am honest, and the first thing I'm going to touch base on is Some Kind of Famous by Ava Wilder. I DNF'd this book at 90%.
No. 90?
Yes. Okay. Out of all of the romance tropes ever, this is a spoiler for the book, so if you want to skip ahead a little bit, great, whatever. But out of all of the tropes, I can read just about anything. I really don't have anything that like gives me the ick, whatever, except a freaking accidental pregnancy. I can't stand that trope.
Whoa.
Very rarely does it add anything to a book for me, and most of the time it feels completely like it just feels dismissive. It's like, let's create tension for no freaking reason. If they're already in a relationship, then like pretty sure they could work through it appropriately. You know what I mean? Like it feels lazy. It feels lazy. It is the only trope that I can't stand. So Some Kind of Famous, Ava Wilder, this old party girl, famous singer, whatever, comes to small town, starts talking to one of her sister's friends who is like the handyman. Okay, cool, great, whatever. But like the way that these characters were described, like the main girl is described as sharp, and not like witty sharp, but like a sharp angular face and with sharp nose and like sharp jaw, and I'm like, I'm
That's how
picturing
you
like
describe a villain.
that's what I'm, yes. Why am I picturing now like cartoon like villain with like the jutted out chin and nose and whatever?
Yeah.
So like all of it. Then on top of that, like so she's already really self-deprecating because she's afraid she's gonna like fall back into her old ways of like being a party girl. Great. There's not a single character that supports her. Her sister, which is the whole reason she's in, I think, Colorado or wherever to begin with, continues to berate literally every decision she makes. Like, continues to talk down to her, doesn't think she should be talking to the main guy, whole thing. It's just like, and so then when the whole pregnancy trope thing, I was like, nope, I already was like really iffy on it, and this was going to be maybe this was probably going to be a 1 star regardless, but 1 star, 90%, I DNF'd it hard. I was like,
Wow.
nope, I can't do it. So like, I
That
appreciate
is
NetGalley
wild.
and Random House for allowing me to do it, but I was like, no, I cannot.
That's wild. I can't believe that. I mean, 90% is like I once DNF'd a book at like 60% and felt pretty bad about it.
Oh yeah.
But like 90% is crazy. The idea of a unplanned you know what really takes it out of me when I'm reading a book and it's a fantasy book and they go, "Did you have the potion that stops us from having children?" I hate that.
We are writing fantasy. We could just have it so they don't get pregnant. Like
That's exactly it.
Why are we still concerned about birth control?
Oh my gosh, I did. That's something that so takes like when I'm reading like a romance from today's world, like very rarely do they even mention like pulling out a condom even. Like people just
Right.
know that like, hey, these are two people who are not in like a marriage yet necessarily. Like
It's
expect
called
them
an
to take
adult book for a
precautions.
reason.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
let's just ignore that part. Let's just get
Right.
to the good part. So,
Yep.
the fact that there's unplanned pregnancy books, I haven't come across one yet, but I can only imagine how jarring that is.
Well, yeah, because then it's all like, then you have to go through the whole like, well, I didn't tell you because we weren't serious,
Yeah,
and like,
yeah,
no, stop it. It's like unplanned pregnancy is just lazy. It forces the miscommunication trope, which I also is like really like, it has to be
yeah,
done well, you know. But
yeah.
like, no, that one just gives me the ick. Completely takes me out of it. I just ugh.
Ugh.
So yeah,
Man, tough
90%.
one. Tough one.
Yep, yep. That being said, we did have a couple really good ones.
Okay.
I kind of going to the next tier up here. Have you ever read or heard of We Were Liars? It's a TV show now on Amazon Prime, but it's based
Mm,
off of a YA mystery kind of thriller book.
can't say I have.
Okay. So it's by E. Lockhart. And the first book came out in like, oh geez, 2014. And
Okay.
basically it's like families show up on private island, but like the whole family has their own little lies and there's stuff going on. And I don't want to say too much because it will completely ruin it. But
Mm.
regardless, like this was the first ever like mystery type book I ever read. So while yes,
Ah.
I could kind of see what was going on with it, it didn't really take me out of it. I had rated this like a solid 4 stars the time I read it the first time, and then the second time it really didn't take me out of it too much. I gave it like a 3.5. Like it was still so good the second time because then the second book came out, Family of Liars, which I read right away, and that was disappointing. It
Mm.
followed the moms of the kids in the first book. Completely
Ah.
disappointing. I really didn't like it. But I saw on NetGalley that the third one is coming out. We Fell Apart. It's expected in November, and I was like, okay, I have to. I'm a completionist, so like I did want to finish all of them that will be part of this series. And this follows a house and a family on the opposite side of the lake from where this all the shit went down.
Okay.
So third book, I won't go into too much detail on it, but like this was what I wanted the first one to like. This was the first one. It was the
Ah.
same. It was 3.5, like 3.75. It was so good, and like the parallels in it, that same type of like there's a mystery, but like, and I would say this mystery threw me off even more than the first one did, and so like it was just absolutely fantastic. 3.5. I did round down to 3, but like, so thank you so much again to NetGalley and to Delacorte Books for allowing me to read that one because it was just, I cannot, I like, I'm back on board in this series now.
Nice. Very nice. Very, very good. I
Yeah,
like
it was,
that.
they're YA. It's like 300 pages. I mean, they're really easy to get through, but like, so good, so fun.
People crap on YA. They shouldn't. Like there's
Absolutely not.
YA is such a wonderful genre. Like even
Yeah.
as I've gotten older, it just feels so good to like get into those books still because it just feels
Hmm.
it's a different style of writing that is so
Totally.
comfortable.
Yeah, and I mean, and I think especially for like, I've been trying to get into more fantasy and like when I want to broaden my horizons on a
Hmm.
genre, going back to YA is such an easy entry point.
Totally.
You're not going to get something that's so complex. You're like, well, then why am I even trying this?
I agree 100% with you. Yeah, absolutely. Any other standouts real quick before we sneak into Horny Court?
Yep, last one. We met like this. Casey West. I mentioned how like she is a YA author that has started to do adult,
Hmm.
and her YAs really are back and forth for me because they're very like sometimes the YA is like little young type thing
Mm.
where sometimes the YA is that like cozy like I feel like I did when I was in high school. Well, she had a one that came out recently that is her first debut into adult, and it was fantastic. And now granted, I probably liked it a little bit more because Ben and I did meet on Bumble, and this book is
Okay.
basically the premise of what happens if you keep swiping on the same person every time. Like these two characters basically like they swiped together, went on a date, it ended really badly, but then they kind of used it as a benchmark for where they were at in their lives because they would like delete the app, come back on it, then they would find each other and swipe and have a couple messages
Ah,
and that kind of thing. And then they start to explore like why they're so bad at the apps. And then they start to explore like, well, then why did our date go so badly? And it was just absolutely really well done, very cute. Was an absolute 4 star. So
very
the
nice.
Ark world is a crazy adventure when it comes to all these, but like Casey West, and she has another adult one coming out that I'm super excited to get to too. But
Very
absolutely
nice.
fantastic.
It sounds like if I get into arc reads that I'm gonna read something and go, so this got published. I can do this, right?
Your level of delusion, absolutely.
Perfect. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, easy.
Yes, feed the Delulu. Well, that's Lauren's arc journey. If you want more of her arc journey, be sure to check her out on TikTok because she does a little more in depth over
Yep.
there and hits all of the books, and also her YouTube channel as well. But it's time for the long awaited. We've talked about this. I'm so excited for this next segment. It's Horny Court.
Heck yeah.
Dun dun. It's Horny Court.
In a world where blah,
In
blah,
a
blah, blah, blah. I can't
world.
I can't even do the whole like Law and Order intro.
I've never watched Law and Order. I don't know. I've Criminal Minds, love Criminal Minds.
Yeah, oh
But
yeah.
Law and Order just wasn't my bag. I don't know.
Yeah, I
But
never got into it.
yeah. All right, let's head into the courtroom. We don our robes and wigs and grab our gavels as we decide whether or not these books are guilty of being too horny. Or if they shall run free as wonderful stories. We're swinging for the fences with this first one. We're doing
Obviously.
the ACOTAR books 1 through 3. We're going to do the original trilogy, A Court of Thorns and Roses, A
Yep.
Court of
Wings and Ruin.
Wings and Ruin, and then A Court of...
um,
You
a
read
court
these
of
more
something
recent.
and something.
That is correct. That is
Yeah.
absolutely correct. You've
Oh
read
no,
them.
Mist and Fury is the second one. Then Wings and Ruin.
That's it. Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So we are excluding the little novella, and then we are also excluding Court of Silver Flames because those are really different books.
Very different.
Very very different. So we're starting off with a Court of Thorns and Roses. Now, we talked a little bit about this before we got started. I
We did.
firmly who wants to give opening arguments?
I say you go for it.
Okay, I firmly believe that the first trilogy of the ACOTAR series, dare I say, not horny enough. It is not. I believe that these books should not be deemed smut. These books are amazing stories with just the slightest amount of spice sprinkled in among them.
See, okay, so that brings up a really good point because what do you consider smut? What do we consider like we everybody has seen the pepper scale. Everybody will be like, "Oh,
Sure.
this is a 2 pepper book."
Yeah.
What are we like are we doing it as a are you saying that because of the ratio of spice in the whole book? Or are you saying that based off of more the description of the spice?
I am, in terms of spice level, it has to be a combination, but I think a major part of that has to be amount of scenes that are sexual in nature.
That's fair.
And, for to be perfectly honest, the whole reason why I started reading A Court of Thorns and Roses was because TikTok was blowing up about how there was a 15-minute blowjob scene in the audiobook. And when the first book, I'm reading it. I'm reading A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I've got like 100 pages left, and I'm like, Liz, I don't think I'm gonna get to a blowjob in this book.
Yep.
And so, like, book one, there's there's a lot of like wanting, but there's not a lot of there's
Yeah.
one sex scene. in
Which
that
then you get
one.
past it and you realize why.
Well, yeah.
But also, so okay, I pulled it up because there was a graphic that I like knew I wanted to find.
Okay.
The first 3 books only have 4 chapters out of the entirety that are spicy.
And those are long books.
And they're long books.
Uh-huh.
And so like when you get into like the further ones, I mean Silver Flames has like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Obviously, but again that's a different thing.
Yeah.
So like I agree. And I also think like you speak to the amount and then also the like detail of it.
Sure.
They're really well written. They're good written spice scenes.
Mm-hmm.
They don't use an absurd amount of like cringy words that I can't like. That's a whole other freaking subplot of words that Lauren finds cringy in spice scenes. But like they're really well done and they're intentional. I think that's the other part of a spice scene is like I don't care how many spice scenes are in a book if they're intentional.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's the thing that the original trilogy does really, really well. Every sex scene is earned.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
and I think the story does change significantly if that sex scene isn't in it.
Oh, 100%. Because we talked about in the first episode the fated mates thing.
Yeah.
And obviously, okay, so we can't talk Spicy Court and not do some type of spoilers. But,
Sure.
like, Rhys and Farrah are, like, my definition of a fated mates that works well.
Yes.
Like, they're fated, that's cool, but it doesn't give that consensual, non-consensual vibes. And he obviously doesn't freaking imprison her like Tampon does. But, like... But, like, they still, like, their connection is pure and good, and all that the fated mates does is enhance that, and that's what I want to see in that's why I want to see in fated mates to begin with. So I do agree that actually these probably could be a little bit spicier, only because I think that I don't want the scenes to necessarily be more explicit. I just wouldn't mind more of a physical connection throughout the entirety of the book.
Interesting. Okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down. So you almost want this to be a hornier book.
Yes, but not explicit. I don't
Okay.
want I don't need the horniness to be in the way that it's written,
Uh-huh.
but I wouldn't mind it to be slightly more frequent.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Sure.
Because I know people speak to the paint scene in the cabin frequently.
Yeah.
Like that's a gorgeous scene because it's written so well, but I wouldn't actually say it's that explicit. You know, like it
But
has
is it
that
horny?
kind of it's not horny, it's just
not
beautiful.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so are you, because when we first pitched this, we were kind of talking a little, behind the scenes, inside baseball.
Doing a little prep.
We were
Yeah.
doing a little prep, and we were trying to decide if it was okay for us to agree and kind of expound upon from there. And you were on the side originally that this book is guilty of being borderline too horny.
Yeah, and then I think the more you dive into it though, with the intentionality, it does ground it so much more for me.
Yeah, I do think that the idea of intentionality and it being so important to the story makes it like there are moments in here that these books are horny. Like
Yeah.
Farrah wants Rhys. I always pronounce it as Rise in my head.
I did too. I think it's Reese.
I think it's Rhys. I think that's actually the correct way. So
But yeah, I definitely pronounced it Rice for like the entirety of when I was actually reading that.
I still pronounce it Rice when I read it.
Yeah.
So, but like, I think that there are horny moments, but it's not like I wouldn't consider these books to be number one. I wouldn't consider them to be smut, and number
No.
two, I wouldn't consider them to be guilty of being too horny.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I really think people that say that are just lumping in the fifth. Because the fifth is a entirely different conversation.
It is a very
and that's
different
why
conversation.
we're doing the first 3. Because
Yeah.
the first 3 in the original trilogy, it's so intentional. And I think the other thing is too, is I think a lot of people that like say that it's too smutty or whatever are also the people that are looking for more fantasy than romance. And this is a romantasy. It's going to have both. It needs to have both in order to fulfill that. Otherwise, it's just a fantasy. That's a different book.
Absolutely, 100%. And so, even when I was reading them, I threw the book like on a dash, and I drove to, my wife and I drove somewhere, met my aunt, and my aunt was like, "Oh, Liz, you're reading, this," and I was like, "No, I'm reading this," and she went, "But it's smut," and I just looked at her. I was like, "What book are you reading? There's just
That's the thing.
This is a war book, is what it is."
Yep.
And
that's like one of the ones we'll have to bring to court for a different discussion is obviously the Empyrean series, because that's very much like Ben and I discussed that a lot. It's like this is the ACOTAR series is a war book. It's a war book with a coming of yourself empowerment with Farah. Like it's a strong female
I recommend
ACOTAR.
I recommend ACOTAR to a lot of my guy friends because
Yeah.
they're war books. The first one
absolutely.
isn't. The first one
But it's necessary.
It is necessary. You do need that.
It honestly should be a prequel. It should be a duology with a prequel.
Yeah, that's not a bad call. That's really not a bad call.
It's a duology with a prequel.
Yeah.
And I think that's why also I had a really hard time getting into. I did read Frost and Starlight because like I said, a novella, different thing.
Yeah.
It took me forever to want to get into Silver Flames because of how well that first trilogy is so wrapped up with the nice little bow that it is. It's a duology with a prequel.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of describing it. And I would put the last third of A Court of Thorns and Roses against any ending. Like that's one thing that Sarah J. Maas knows how to do, and that's end of fucking book, man. Just the action and all of the and I think that's even the bigger reason why I don't consider this to be a horny book or a horny series up until we get into other stuff. I think that because yes, the end of book 1 is about love, and yes, the end of book 2 is about is about a war starting, right? And book 3 is about a war finishing, right? Like the only one.
But she didn't start the war.
She didn't.
It's not like it's a war based off of love.
Yeah,
I mean, it is, but it's not.
But it's
not there to love.
And so,
it's an actual war. They're training for it. There are warriors. There are different courts. It is a true war book.
Exactly.
It just happens to also have this beautiful love story alongside.
Yep, 100%. And so I think we can firmly agree. I believe ACOTAR books 1 through 3, you get to go off scot-free, not horny.
Yep, I agree.
Hit the gavel, not horny.
Not horny.
Not horny enough. Get me more. Give me. Listen, we're gonna. Next time we do Horny Court, we should do Court of Silver Flames. Because I got some opinions on that.
Same, 100%.
And I'm very curious where we will land on that. But that being said, that's the end of Chit Chat and Chapters, episode 2. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Austin. You can find me on Instagram at Radio Guy Austin, on TikTok at Dice Guy Austin. Don't know if I've posted anything. I may or may not use social media at this point.
Well, at least one of us has.
Yeah, Lauren, you can find her all over the social media.
Everywhere. Turn a corner, I'm there, man. That's the goal. Like, I'm gonna be on your phone, just somewhere. I promise.
Somewhere, she's lurking.
I'd be lurking
on your phone. She's just.
Yep, I have been Lauren. I am
my books.
always, man. That's the goal. So I am Lauren's Lifestyle everywhere across platforms: the TikToks, the Instagrams, the YouTube. You know where to find me. It's the same profile picture across things. So if you found one, you found them all. We like Pokemon. You just got to catch them all.
That's right.
So, absolutely.
Very good. Well, Lauren, thanks so much once again. Everybody, keep reading and stay cozy.